Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the newly released Ghostbusters Plasma Series 1/18th scale ECTO-1. When Hasbro did indeed unveil that they were going to be creating an ECTO-1 designed for the Plasma Series, I was absolutely ecstatic, as the ECTO-1 has got to be, if not is, the most iconic vehicle to ever grace the silver screen. Unfortunately my hype was slightly heightened down when I did indeed learn that this was going to be in the 1/18th scale than as opposed to the 1/12th scale, which would better match their previously released Plasma Series 6-inch Ghostbusters figures. However, I have been told that this is indeed intended for the upcoming 3.75-inch line, which is set to release later this year. Taking a quick look here at the packaging, unfortunately during transit, the box and the actual vehicle itself did indeed endure some damage. However, I'll delve more into that later. You can see that we have an amazing piece of artwork here of the ECTO-1, obviously based on its appearance from the upcoming Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, as it's a little bit more dilapidated in terms of its colour scheme, and we of course have it situated in the barn setting, which we've seen from some of the trailers. As we take a look here from the side of the vehicle, we've got some really nice images here of the ECTO-1, which is of course to match what we saw from some of the 6-inch figures in terms of packaging art. And then as we take a look here towards the back of the box, we've got some really nice product shots of the vehicle from a front perspective. We've also got it demonstrating some of the features, such as the opening doors. We've also got the swing out blaster seat and various other details, such as the deployable RTV. And of course we do indeed have a very brief bio. ECTO-1 looks like the classic ECTO-1 got a new upgrade with new features, ready to take on bigger, badder ghosts. The ghouls will be running scared. I really cannot wait to see this vehicle in action, hopefully sometime this year. So without further ado, enough about the packaging, let's crack this open and see what awaits us inside. And so here we have the ECTO-1 opened up and out of the packaging, and despite this being in a scale which is slightly smaller than I would have preferred, I'm sure I can safely say, and that you'll all agree with me in saying, that Hasbro certainly did deliver in terms of the paint applications and the authenticity to the vehicle used in the upcoming Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. This is potentially one of the best mass-produced recreations we have ever gotten for such an iconic vehicle. The paintwork is leaps and bounds better than presented in some of the promotional images, and I really cannot wait to get some of these upcoming 3.75-inch figures to indeed scale with this particular vehicle. Now of course I would have much rather seen a 1/12 scale representation of this vehicle. However, I'm pretty sure it would have been enormous, and to me would perhaps better fit HasLab's crowdfunding project, as I would love to have lights and sounds, and if they were to do a 1/12 scale version of this, I'm pretty sure it would be enormous, and is something that I'm pretty sure most retailers wouldn't stock due to its enormous size. But putting it here in the 1/18th scale I believe was probably the best business decision. But with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the actual ECTO-1 itself. Starting off firstly by taking a look at of course the paintwork, I believe Hasbro have done a splendid job. As mentioned in the opening segment, upon opening this here out of the box, I was pleasantly surprised to see how much better it looks in hand than compared to some of the promo images. You can see that the entire vehicle has been completely decked out in this really awesome, almost pixelated spray, and it certainly does give you the impression that this vehicle here is dilapidated. You've got what appears to be either mud splats all over the window, creating for a very dusty and of course authentic feel. You've of course got the Ghostbusters insignia here completely scratched out and really looking weathered and battered. I absolutely love the attention to detail in regards to the rust. You can see how it is indeed slightly heavier in some places and then of course is slightly lighter in others. I do like how the designers did indeed take their time in order to match the actual vehicle seen in the movie. I think that is awesome. You of course do have the ladder here, which is reversed on this particular prop than compared to the original two movies. And then as we take a look here towards the rear section of the vehicle, this is unfortunately where the vehicle did endure some damage during transit. You can see how the back rear light here has indeed smashed off, and I am indeed missing one of the side view mirrors here. However, the retailer I did purchase this off did say that they would give me a replacement, so certainly looking forward to that. As we take a look here towards the front section of the vehicle, this is certainly where you can see just how dilapidated this particular vehicle is, and it really does give you the impression that this vehicle has just been merely sitting in a barn, degrading and of course rusting over time. We do get the ECTO-1 New York license plate there. I love all of the detail going along here. And then as we take a look here towards the other side, you can once again see that the rust does indeed continue. I do like the asymmetrical nature to the rust. It is slightly heavier on the opposite side than it is here on this side, so once again accuracy to the movie. We have of course got all of these individually sculpted components here on the sides of the vehicle. You've got the window wipers picked out in a really nice metallic silver, and I do once again like the transparent plastic that they have used in order to create a slightly more weathered effect. Unfortunately the tyres are indeed plastic. It would have been great to have got them in rubber, but nonetheless they still do get the job done. As we take a look here to the underside of the vehicle, it is also nice to see that they haven't skimped out as far as detail is concerned. The detail on the underside once again was something that did surprise me. Although not painted, it is still a nice touch in my opinion. As we take a look here towards the rear of the vehicle, you can see all of the red paintwork here has been applied really nice and precisely. And then of course taking a look here towards the top of the vehicle, the detail on this is just absolutely exceptional. You can see that we've got the various light bars, we've got the lights, we've got the sirens. I just think that this here looks absolutely incredible. You can see all of the wires there have been individually sculpted as well as painted. Just an amazing recreation of what we will see in the upcoming movie, and I love how the director did indeed stay truthful as best as he could in capturing its appearance from the original 2 movies, whilst of course integrating some new elements in order to make it original to the Afterlife movie. As we take a look here towards the side of the vehicle, as far as features are concerned, you can indeed open the doors. However, I must say it is rather difficult to do so. So you can pop this one open and you can see that the interior detail is just as good as the exterior. The interior of the door there has been completely decked out in paint, and they haven't skimped out on the sculpt work at all. As we take a look to the actual interior, you can see the steering wheel as well as various different dials there on the dashboard, clearly sculpted, and I love the attention to detail to the actual seating area as well. That, in my opinion, is fantastic. As we take a look here towards the other door, you are indeed able to see more details, such as the small radio in there. If I just bring that in here for a closer look, you can see that too has also been sculpted and painted really well. However, my favourite feature of this particular vehicle has got to be the swing out gunner seat. So in order to demonstrate that, you just want to take this door here, completely pull it back so that it is now sitting flush with the rear end of the vehicle, and you can see some exceptional sculpt and paintwork. And then we simply just take this seat here, pull this forward, and I just want to demonstrate that there is indeed a working mechanism that when you do pull this forward, this spring section here will indeed extend as if it is indeed shooting the seat out. So if I just pull this section here out, you can see how this does begin to extend, which I think is awesome. Of course, you can rotate this around, and it has indeed got a built-in sculpted proton pack, and the detail on this is absolutely tremendous. We've also got some really nice red paintwork. This entire assembly can rotate the full 360. We can also bring this handle section down for what I imagine will be held by one of the 3.75 inch figures. And taking a look at the actual interior of the back end of the ECTO-1, if we just pull this door open, which once again has got some amazing detail, it does indeed reveal some really nice sculpt work. So if I just pull this open, you can see how they've completely sculpted and painted this door, and we've got all of these various different dials in here, all of these different components, all been painted and sculpted tremendously in my opinion. And then as we take a look here towards the opposite side, you can see that the sculpt work does indeed continue. If you look all the way back to the ECTO-1, it is rather difficult to convey here on camera due to the camera wanting to focus on objects closer to it. Perhaps it would be better if I show it from this perspective. You can see that we have indeed got some nice details, and this does read RTV, which is indeed what this particular contraption is. This here is a remote trap vehicle, which I believe we will see in the upcoming Afterlife movie. This is a separate piece which is simply held in via a slot and tab. All of the wheels on this do indeed roll, and you can see how of course it is very reminiscent to that of an actual ghost trap. I think the sculpt work as well as the detail on this in general has come out really well, and of course you can roll this along the ground, and I imagine once again that we'll see more of that in the upcoming movie. Of course, to close the doors, you simply just want to align them up and snap them into place. We can just take this here, rotate this around and snap that in there, bring this section here around, snap that into place, close the door. And something which I absolutely love about this vehicle is it does indeed roll incredibly smoothly, as if it did indeed have rubber wheels. So that is amazing, and I just cannot wait to get some figures to actually scale with this, as I believe this would be a centerpiece for any Ghostbusters collector, and I'm almost certain that we are going to be getting a retooled and repainted version of this in order to match its original appearance from the '84 movie. As far as length and height is concerned, you are looking at about roughly 14 inches in terms of length, and then I would say to the top of this section you are looking at about 6.5 inches in terms of height. So definitely quite a large vehicle, and as mentioned at the beginning of this review, if this was to be in the 1/12 scale, I'm pretty sure it would have been massive, and most retailers more than likely wouldn't have carried it due to it being a lot more expensive and of course taking up a lot more shelf space. I believe the 1/18 scale is perfect. It's not too big nor not too large, and to be honest with you, I actually find this here to be a little larger than expected. So if it were to be in the 1/12 scale, I would probably be rather worried as to where I would display this in the collection. But it is also nice to see that despite this being smaller in terms of the scale, they have not skimped out on the sculpt nor paintwork whatsoever. So some final thoughts on this particular piece. If you can get over that it is indeed in the 1/18 scale, I believe you are in for a treat with this particular vehicle. They have done such an exceptional job on this. This is a perfect recreation from what we have seen from some of the trailers and on-set photos of the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. Of course, it does take heavy inspiration from its original appearance from the '84 1994 movie, and then of course the sequel, but there are some changes such as the reverse ladder. We now have a much more dilapidated and rusted colour scheme in order to match its appearance from the film, and we of course have the all-new gunner seat, which I personally believe is awesome and makes the ECTO-1 just so much more playable than the original version. I personally can highly recommend this to any Ghostbusters fan. Despite it not being in scale with the already released Plasma Series 6-inch Ghostbusters, I still don't think it would look terrible when on display with them. Of course it's not going to look perfect, but just as a general display, you've got a really movie accurate representation of the ECTO-1 and some of the best mass-produced Ghostbusters figures on the market. As far as a very quick size comparison with the closest figure I have to 3.75 inch, here we have a 4-inch Fortnite figure, and you can see here that it is a very big vehicle. This is only a 4-inch figure and it is completely dwarfed by the enormous ECTO-1, so personally I can highly recommend this. I believe that it is more than worth the asking price. Of course I would have loved to have seen some lights and sounds incorporated into this, although it may have resulted in some inaccuracies. It is a shame in my opinion that this door here cannot open. I'm quite unsure as to why that is, as there does appear to be more than enough room to do so. All I can think of is that perhaps the ladder here would have obstructed it if you would have swung this around, although I'm pretty certain that that could have been something they could have easily remedied, perhaps if they could have just created a slightly longer extendable joint. But overall, as far as I'm concerned, I'm thoroughly impressed and am indeed glad to add this to the collection. I really hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.